Welcome back to my X-Men series. For those of you who are new here, I'm going through each of the X-Men movies and reviewing them one by one. This is coinciding with both the series' 20th anniversary and the release of the final film in the franchise, The New Mutants, which has been out for some time now, and I haven't gotten to see it yet, and I really need to get on that. Let me know what you think of the X-Men movies in the comments below, and make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these reviews. It helps me out immensely if you do that. I already reviewed the first 7 movies in the franchise, and I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description in case you missed any of them. And if you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with my reviews of the rest of the series as well as some new releases. But now, let's talk about the 8th film, Deadpool. This stars Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson, a sarcastic, loudmouth mercenary who is diagnosed with terminal cancer. He attempts to go through with an experimental cure, which results in the doctor named Ajax, played by Ed Skrein, torturing him relentlessly over the course of a long weekend. A mutant gene is activated, Wade's cancer is cured, but he's left horribly scarred. Ajax leaves Wade for dead, but now that his mutant powers allow him to heal himself, Wade takes on the name Deadpool and sets out for revenge. Directed by Tim Miller in his directorial debut and written by Zombieland co-writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, this is not the first time we've seen Deadpool in an X-Men movie. As most would love to forget, he was featured in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was also the first time Reynolds portrayed the character. And at first it seemed like they were going to keep the spirit of Deadpool until they sewed his mouth shut, made him a supervillain, and gave him a ton of powers that he didn't have in the comics. And in addition to many other things in that movie, it pissed a lot of fans off. But Origins still was a financial success, and Fox decided to move forward with a Deadpool solo movie, looking to ignore Origins and portray Deadpool as he was in the comics, though it did take some time for this to get off the ground. Development started in 2010, but there were several drawbacks between concerns over an R rating, a lot of pleading with executives, as well as some guilt by association. Reynolds had starred in Green Lantern in 2011, which didn't go so well with both critics and audiences, so between that and Origins, his track record with superhero movies wasn't so great. But after some test footage was leaked online and received a very positive response, it finally got the go-ahead, and with the last X-Men movie, Days of Future Past, wiping most of the series' continuity, it allowed Deadpool to have a fresh start. And the result is something much better than what we got in Origins. Deadpool already had a huge following with comic book fans, and not only did this give them everything they wanted, this gained him a ton of new fans. I remember going to Comic-Con later that year, and everywhere I turned, there was someone in a Deadpool costume. The pictures of everyone dressed as him all together were massive. It was pretty funny, actually. And this serves as essentially a full-length live-action cartoon, essentially acting as an R-rated Looney Tunes. Deadpool goes around attacking and killing people in very graphic, over-the-top fashions. He cracks jokes every other sentence, and he breaks the fourth wall pretty consistently. And it was a lot of fun. We got hints in Origins that Reynolds would be a good fit for the character if he was done right, but this proved he was born to play the role. Honestly, there couldn't be anyone more perfect to play Deadpool than Reynolds. He's clearly having a blast with this, and even though Deadpool is seen with a mask for a good chunk of the movie, you kind of get the sense Reynolds is smiling with glee underneath as he says something ridiculous. Even though this takes place in the same universe as the much more serious, much more dense X-Men ensemble films, this is just a good movie to sit back, relax, and have a few good laughs. The opening title sequence, for example, is a freeze frame of Deadpool in the middle of a giant crash where he's attempting to kill someone while also pulling on their underwear. And there is no better way to sum up this movie's overall feel than that one image, because that is the embodiment of what this movie is in a nutshell. Though this does have a little bit of a serious side, mainly just to give Wade a proper backstory with some sort of emotional depth. We see him get into a relationship with a woman named Vanessa, played by Morena Baccarin, and we see their relationship develop, they get engaged, we see how in sync they are, and how they care for one another, and how Wade's cancer and disappearance post-treatment affects both of them. Though they're still cracking jokes through most of the scenes, mainly because Wade and Vanessa have the same twisted sense of humor, but we do get a look at how all of their actions are fueled by the fact they care for one another, and we do get enough little moments between them that we are invested in the both of them. Reynolds and Baccarin have some great chemistry, so the scenes of them together were nice. While this is first and foremost a Deadpool solo movie, it shows him aided by 2 of the X-Men. One is a trainee named Negasonic Teenage Warhead, played by Brianna Hildebrand, and the other is Colossus, who was in other X-Men movies, though this is what's viewed as the more faithful version. He's gigantic here, and he's always shown in his steel form, and he's voiced by Stefan Kapicic, hopefully I'm saying that right, and the character is essentially all CGI, with an actor just standing in for him on set. But they make up Deadpool's foils. They are a lot more serious than he is, sometimes a bit too serious, so there are a lot of exchanges where Colossus tries to be this voice of reason, and Deadpool will ignore him and do whatever he wants, while Negasonic Teenage Warhead acts like this angsty teenager who sometimes can't be bothered to get involved, with Deadpool relentlessly making fun of her for it, and their banter would often often be a lot of fun. And the movie even makes fun of the fact that you never see any of the other X-Men. Deadpool goes to Xavier's mansion, but literally the only two people we see are Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. It's literally empty otherwise. The movie was actually given a much lower budget than most of the other X-Men movies, due to the concerns from the executives that I mentioned earlier, and Deadpool casually mentions this at one point, which was a little bit of fun meta humor. Now, I will say, the humor is this movie's most prominent element, and like I said, this did give people who were already fans of Deadpool from the comics everything they wanted. And if you haven't seen this by now, your enjoyment of this will be strictly based off of how much you like these jokes. Because it's essentially the same three types of jokes. Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, Deadpool makes a pop culture reference, and Deadpool comes up with elaborate curses and insults. This is what fuels the majority of the dialogue here. It's very crude, extremely vulgar, and shamelessly self-aware. And if you're on board with all that and fine with it, great. There are a lot of people I know who absolutely love this movie simply because it's just that. If you're looking for something with a little more variety though, you're in the wrong place, because for the most part, every other line of dialogue is essentially one of these three types of jokes. You'll have sequences where Deadpool will go on tangents with a side character, such as a friend or someone who he stays with, and they'll just go on for a minute coming up with outlandish descriptions for certain situations. Like one of his friends makes a string of jokes describing what Wade looks like after he was experimented on. You'll have moments where Deadpool's about to go brutally murder someone and there will be music playing in the background to hype the situation up, and he'll tell the music to either shut off or turn on. And you'll have moments where Deadpool will refer to someone as whatever movie character they resemble, like he calls Negasonic Teenage Warhead Ripley from Alien. And he even takes a few shots at Ryan Reynolds himself, making fun of the Green Lantern movie or riffing on Reynolds' acting abilities. All this is between very graphic scenes of Deadpool murdering people in a very over-the-top fashion. The movie consists of nothing but a rotation of these scenes and these jokes, and it makes for a fun time. It's especially a good movie to just have on in the background, because it's a superhero movie, but you don't have to pay attention all the time, and if you're in the middle of something else, you can just tune in and out and catch a joke. Though as I said, your level of enjoyment solely relies on how much you like these sort of jokes. And I think they work for the most part, though I do feel some of the jokes were made very much for the sake of a pop culture reference, or made for the sake of reminding the audience that Deadpool knows he's in a movie. And I know some people had no problem with it whatsoever, because that is literally the embodiment of who Deadpool is. I just felt the execution of some of them didn't totally land for me personally. They were funny for the most part, but not all of them were laugh out loud hilarious to me. Also, as far as the villains go, not that you're really here for the villains, I know the X-Men films in general had some pretty solid antagonists, and Ed Skrein is good here, though Ajax is essentially just this one-dimensional evil guy. He just likes torturing Deadpool and has no real motivations beyond that. Which I feel is kind of the point in a way, since this isn't meant to be a very deep film and the focus is almost exclusively on Deadpool. We're not supposed to expect a very strong villain to go along with him. We just need someone for him to fight, and that's fine, but it's worth pointing out. Overall, this is a fun time. For those who are pissed as to how Deadpool was portrayed in Origins, this makes up for it, as it gets the character down to a T. But it rotates through the same few types of jokes in between moments of over-the-top violence, and you'll enjoy the movie to the extent of which you like those sort of jokes. So if you're not on board within the first few minutes, the rest of the movie's not going to change your mind. But for those who are, it's loud, energetic, shameless, and has a pitch-perfect lead in Ryan Reynolds, who goes all out. Deadpool gets a 7.5 out of 10. Up next, we go back to the main series with X-Men Apocalypse, which should be interesting. Stay tuned for that, along with more 2020 reviews, including Antebellum, The Owners, and much more coming soon. So let me know, did you see Deadpool, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like the humor? Did you enjoy the action? And what's your favorite superhero comedy? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time.